Chapter 9. Gao. When the high priest sang the terrible mantram Iao in the sanctum sanctorum of the Temple of Solomon, the drums of the temple resounded to prevent the profane from hearing the sublime Eeao. The great master Huiracocha says, in The Gnostic Church, the following: Diodorus said, "Know ye that among all the gods, the most elevated is Eeao. Hades is in the winter, Zeus begins in spring, Helios in summer, and in the autumn Eeao enters into activity, working constantly. Eeao is Jove's pater, Jupiter, whom the Jews unjustly call Yahweh. Eeao offers the substantial wine of life, whilst Jupiter is a slave of the Sunday Ignis, fire, soul. Aqua, water, substance. Origo, cause, air, origin. Huiracocha says, Eeao is the name of God among the Gnostics. The divine spirit is symbolized by the vowel O, which is the eternal circle. The letter I symbolize the internal being of each man, but both are interjoined with the letter A, the fulcrum. This is the powerful mantram, or magic word, which should be sung when we are practicing sexual magic with the priestess wife. The sound of these three powerful vowels should be prolonged in this way: E, H, 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 O, H, 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 that is to say, extending the sound of each vowel. One inhales whilst counting to 20, retains the breath for a count of 20, and then exhales the air, vocalizing the letter I. Whilst exhaling one count to 20. Repeat the same with the letter A. Then follow with the letter O. This is done 7 times. After, continue with the powerful archaic mantra, Kolaka, Solasa, Zizar. Kolaka makes the man-spirit vibrates. Solasa puts the terrestrial human personality in vibration. Zizar causes the astral of man to vibrate. These are very ancient mantra. The divine savior of the world, when he practiced with the priestess in the pyramid of Khephren, sang the powerful sacred mantram of fire with her. That is, Inri. The Lord of all adoration practiced in Egypt with his Isis. He combined this mantram with the 5 vowels E, E, O, O, A. Inri, Enri, Onro, Unru, Anra. The first is for clairvoyance. The second is for the magic ear. The third is for the chakra of the heart, center of intuition. The fourth is for the solar plexus or telepathic center. The fifth is for the pulmonary chakras. The latter confer the power to remember past reincarnations. The mantram Inri and its 4 derivatives applicable to the chakras are vocalized, dividing them into 2 syllables, and then extending the sound of each one of the 4 magical letters. With these mantras we can take sexual fire to the chakras during the practices of sexual magic. Returning now to Iao, which we have already said is the name of God amongst the Gnostics, we add the following. The vowel I makes the pineal gland and the embryo of the soul, which every human being has incarnated, vibrate. The vowel A puts the physical vehicle into vibration, and the formidable O makes the testicles vibrate, transmuting marvelously the seminal liquor until it is converted into cryptic energies which ascend victoriously to the chalice, the cerebrum. The Gospel of St. John commences praising the Word. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The same was in the beginning with God. All things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made. In him was I, and the I was the light of men. And the light shineth in the darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not. The word one, English, John, can be broken down into the 5 vowels thus, Ioua, Iuan, one. All of the Gospel of John is the Gospel of the Word. There are people who want to dissociate the divine word from sexual magic. This is absurd. Nobody can incarnate the word if they exclude sexual magic. Jesus, who is the very incarnation of the Word, Jesus, who is the very Word made flesh, taught sexual magic precisely in this same Gospel of St. John. It is now necessary to study the Gospel of St. John, chapter 3, verses 1 to 20. Let us see, there was a man of the Pharisees, named Nicodemus, a ruler of the Jews. The same came to Jesus by night, and said unto him, Rabbi, we know that thou art a teacher come from God, for no man can do these miracles that thou doest, except God be with him. Jesus answered and said unto him, Verily, verily, I say unto thee, except a man be born again, he cannot see the kingdom of God. We have here, dear reader, a sexual problem. To be born has been and always will be sexual. Nobody can be born of theories. We have never known the firstborn of any theory or of any hypothesis. To be born is not a question of beliefs. If only by believing in the Gospels we could be born, then why haven't all the students of the Bible been born? This matter of being born is not a question of believing or not believing. No child is born of beliefs. One is born of the sexual act. This is a sexual question. Nicodemus ignored the great arcanum and in his ignorance answered, saying, How can a man he horn when he is old? Can he enter the second time into his mother's womb and be born? Jesus answered, Verily, verily, I say unto thee, except a man he born of water and of the Spirit, he cannot enter into the kingdom of God. It is necessary, reader, that you know that the water of the gospel is the semen itself and the Spirit is the fire. The Son of Man is born of water and of fire. This is absolutely sexual. That which is born of the flesh is flesh, and that which is born of the Spirit is spirit. Marvel not that I said unto thee, Ye must be born again. It is necessary for the Master to be born within our very selves. The wind bloweth where it listeth, and thou hearest the sound thereof, but canst not tell whence it cometh, and whither it goeth. So is every one that is born of the Spirit. Really, he who is born of the Spirit shines for a moment and then disappears amongst the multitudes. The multitudes cannot see the Superman. The Superman makes himself invisible to the multitudes. In the same way that the chrysalis cannot see the butterfly when it has flown away, so the normal and common man loses sight of the Superman. Nicodemus did not understand anything of this, arid replying, said, How can these things be? Jesus answered and said unto him, Art thou a master of Israel, and knowest not these things? Really Nicodemus knew the sacred scriptures because he was a rabbi, but he did not know sexual magic, because Nicodemus was not initiated. Jesus continued, saying, Verily, verily, I say unto thee, we speak that we do know, and testify that we have seen, and ye receive not our witness. Jesus gave testimony of that which he knew, that which he had seen, and that which he had experienced for himself. Jesus practiced sexual magic with a vestal in the pyramid of Kephren. In this way he was born. That is how he prepared himself to incarnate the Christ. That is how he was able to incarnate the Christ in the Jordan. We all know that Jesus, after leaving Egypt, traveled through India, Tibet, Persia, etc., and then upon returning to the Holy Land received the Venistic initiation in the Jordan. When John baptized the Master Jesus, then the Christ entered within the soul of the Master. The Christ was humanized, Jesus was diminished. That which is called the Son of Man, the Superman, results from this mixture, divine and human. If Jesus had not practiced sexual magic in Egypt, neither would he have been able to incarnate the Christ. He would have been a good master but not the living model of the Superman. If I have told you earthly things, and ye believe not, how shall ye believe, if I tell you of heavenly things? With this the great master confirms that he is speaking of terrestrial things, of the practice of sexual magic. Without this one cannot be born. If people do not believe in terrestrial things, how can they believe in the celestial? And no man hath ascended up to heaven, but he that came down from heaven, even the Son of Man which is in heaven. The I cannot ascend to heaven because it has not descended from heaven. The I is Satan and inevitably must be dissolved. This is the law. Speaking about the sacred serpent, the great master said, "And as Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, even so must the Son of Man be lifted up." We need to lift the serpent upon the staff as did Moses in the desert. This is a question of sexual magic because Kundalini only ascends with sexual magic. Only in this way can we lift up the Son of Man, the Superman within ourselves. It is necessary that the Son of Man be lifted up, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. The rational homunculus mistakenly called man still does not have the authentic astral, mental and causal vehicles. In reality he is only a ghost. It is necessary to practice sexual magic, to live the path of the perfect matrimony, to engender the Christ astral, Christ mind and Christ causal. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. For God sent not his Son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved. He that believeth on him is not condemned, but he that believeth not is condemned already, because he hath not believed in the name of the only begotten Son of God. We affirm that true faith and belief are demonstrated with facts. Whoever does not believe in sexual magic cannot be born even though he says, "I believe in the Son of God." Faith without deeds is death. Whoever does not believe in sexual magic as taught by Jesus to Nicodemus does not believe in the Son of God. These people are lost. And this is the condemnation, that light is come into the world, and men loved darkness rather than light, because their deeds were evil. For everyone that doeth evil hateth the light, hates sexual magic, neither cometh to the light lest his deeds should be reproved. But he that doeth truth cometh to the light, that his deeds may be made manifest and that they are wrought in God. All this is textually from the sacred gospel according to St. John. It is necessary to be born in all planes. What can a poor man or woman full of theories, practicing exercises, etc., do without having been born in the astral? Of what use is it to work with the mind if we still do not have our mental body? The human being should first engender his internal vehicles and then can truly practice what he wishes and study what he wishes. However, first we should engender the internal vehicles to have the right to incarnate the soul and much later the Word. When the legitimate astral is born, we become immortals in the world of 24 laws, the lunar world. When the authentic mental is born, we are immortalized in the world of 12 laws, the world of Mercury or the mind. With the birth of the true causal vehicle, we acquire immortality in the world of 6 laws, the causal world or that of Venus. When we reach these heights we incarnate our human soul and we are transformed into true men. These cryptic vehicles are born of sex, it is a sexual question. As above, so below. If the physical is born of sex, the superior vehicles are born of sex. Everyone who engenders his cryptic vehicles incarnates his soul and speaks then the word of gold. This is the language of power which man spoke in that ancient land where the sons of fire were worshipped, and which was called Arcadia. This is the language which the entire universe speaks. A divine language, and of awesome power. In that mysterious language the angel of Babylon wrote the terrible mean, Tekel Upharsin, during the famous feast of Belshazzar. That same night the sentence was carried out and Babylon was destroyed and the king died. Much has been said about the universal language, but we can only speak it if we incarnate the soul. Then the Kundalini blossoms on the fertile lips made word. When humanity left paradise because of having spilled the semen, then they forgot the divine language, which like a river of gold runs majestically through the dense forest of the sun. The roots of all languages belong to the divine primitive language. Sexual magic is the only existing path by which we can again speak the divine language. There is a close relationship between the sexual organs and the creative larynx. In the ancient mystery schools, the initiates were prohibited from relating the ancient antediluvian catastrophes, for fear of evoking them and bringing them once again to manifestation. The ancient hierophants knew that there is an intimate relationship between the elements of nature and the word. The work entitled Logos, Mantram, Theurgy by the great Gnostic Rosicrucian master Dr. Arnold Crumb-Heller, is a true jewel of occult wisdom. The great master concludes this work stating the following: in ancient times there was a mystery school in which there was a ring on which was engraved the image of Iris and Serapis, united by a snake. Dr. Crumb-Heller adds, here I synthesize all that I have said in this book. In the 8th lesson of the Zodiacal course, Dr. Crumb-Heller wrote a paragraph that scandalized many self-proclaimed experts. They, after the death of the master, tried to adulterate this paragraph, each in their own way, to accord with their theories. Let us now transcribe that paragraph just as Master Huiracocha wrote it. Let us see, instead of coitus which reaches orgasm, one should in profound reflection lavish sweet embraces, amorous words, and delicate caresses, maintaining the mind constantly separated from animal sexuality, sustaining the most pure spirituality, as if the act were a true religious ceremony. Nevertheless, the man can and must introduce the penis and maintain it in the feminine sexual organ, so that for both a divine sensation, full of joy ensues which can last for hours, withdrawing the moment the orgasm approaches to avoid the ejaculation of the semen. Thus, each time they shall have a greater desire to caress each other. This can be repeated as often as desired without causing tiredness. In fact, on the contrary, it is the magic key to daily rejuvenation to maintain a healthy body and prolonging life, since this constant magnetization is a fountain of health. We know that with ordinary magnetism the one who magnetizes conveys currents to the subject, and if the former has these forces developed he is able to heal the latter. The transmission of a magnetic current is done ordinarily via the hands or via the eyes, but it is necessary to say that there is no more powerful conductor than the virile member and the vulva, which are 1,000 times more powerful, 1,000 times superior to the others as receptive organs. If many people practice this, then they spread force and success in their surroundings to those who come into commercial or social contact with them. But, in the act of divine, sublime magnetization to which we refer, both man and woman magnetize each other, reciprocally being one for the other as a musical instrument which when plucked, bursts forth with sounds of sweet and mystical harmony. The strings of this instrument are spread throughout the body, and it is principally the lips and the fingers that make them vibrate, provided that the utmost purity presides over the act. It is this which makes us magicians in that supreme moment. Until hear the words of Dr. Crumb-Heller. This is the path of initiation. By this path we reach the incarnation of the Word. We can be Rosicrucian, Theosophical, or Spiritualist students. We can practice yoga, and there is no doubt that in all this there are marvelous works and magnificent esoteric practices, but if we do not practice sexual magic, neither will we engender the Christ astral, nor the Christ mind, nor the Christ will. Without sexual magic we cannot be born again. Practice what you wish, study in the school that you most enjoy, pray in the temple that pleases you most, but practice sexual magic. Live the path of the perfect matrimony. We are not against any holy religion, nor against any school, order, or sect. All those sacred institutions are necessary, but we advise you to live the path of the perfect matrimony. The perfect matrimony is not opposed to religious life, or to esoteric practices of holy yoga. The Gnostic movement is made up of people from all religions, schools, lodges, sects, orders, etc., etc. Remember, dear reader, the sacred jewel with its IAO is hidden in GAIO. Work with IAO. The priest, the master of every lodge, the disciple of yoga, all will achieve birth. They will all achieve the conservation of their true chastity if they practice sexual magic. Blessed be IAO, blessed be sexual magic, and blessed be the perfect matrimony. The synthesis of all religions, schools, orders, and yogas is found in sexual magic. Any system of self-realization without sexual magic is incomplete and therefore of no use. Christ and sexual magic form the supreme practical synthesis of all religions.